Welcome back, Finer Things Club League owners. Preseason for the 2025 season is here. This is the preseason episode. I did not begin with the classic intro, as that is reserved for the regular and postseason recaps, but I did want to do a preseason show before the season gets kicked off. We're going to talk about any league changes or votes that will take place this season, talk about some of the proposed changes and what was passed, when it will be passed, and what it is that is being passed. We'll talk about the preseason rankings, and we'll also talk about a little bit of fun facts heading into the 2025 season, have a little fun with it. Excited to be doing this once again. Got to fire up the old MacBook and get going on this recap. So let's dive right into those preseason rankings, shall we?
Can't let them hide from me tonight. They got to see me. When that whistle blow, we unleash hell today. When that whistle blow, we unleash hell. Everybody watching tonight. So I tell you what, if you can't find energy tonight, you're in the wrong business. We control us. We run this. And anybody coming in our house, they get dealt with. Respect is earned. Respect is never given. It's better to be respected than liked. The hell with being liked. So today when we step on this football field, let's not be like today. We're in enemy's territory, so let's act like it. Because all we got is each other. No matter the outcome, we got each other. Because we play for each other. Tonight is about each other. So y'all repeat after me. One mind. One mind. One family. One man. One spirit. One spirit. And together. We do all things. 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 Let's do what we do best. Let's do what we do best on three. Let's do what we do best on three. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so interesting preseason ranking. I've got some notes on it, but before we dive into the details, let's start from the bottom and work our way towards the top, and then we'll get into the notes and the details of it all. All the owners, like every year, have voted. There was a couple big trades right around the time of voting, so a couple people had to resubmit their rankings, but needed to get them in. So I don't know. This is recorded on Wednesday around 2 o'clock or so, 3 o'clock, August 27th. So if anything happens after that, obviously would not include any moves to factor in. But starting at 10. At 10, we have a tie for the first time ever in our preseason rankings. We have a tie, and it is at the bottom. But it is worth noting, well, I'll get to it in the notes, as a tie for last place, so 9th and 10th place, we'll call it, between Jan's Cans and the team Uncle Creepies at 23 points. Nate and Frank both tie at the bottom of our preseason rankings. Up next, from 23 to 33 points, a good 10 points separating the 9th and 10th spots to the 8th spot. That's Blind Guy McSqueezy, James, in the 8th spot at 33 points, and just above him is the newly named assistant regional manager, or affectionately known from JT as the ass manager, at 37 points, just a little bit above James at 33 points, and then one point above Jake with 38 points is the newly named Toby's Tariff Titans in that spot. In the 6th spot. So we have 23 for both Nate and Frank, 33 in the 8th spot for James, 37 points for Jake in the 7th spot, and 38 points in the 6th spot for JT's Tariff Titans. In the 5th spot, we have a huge gap. There's really kind of 2 tiers, which is usually there's more than that, but it's kind of separated in between 2 tiers. We had 23, 33, 37, and 38 points in the 6 through 10 spots. And then we jump all the way to 60 for the number 5 spot. And that is Jordan Cafe Disco, the newly named Cafe Disco, in the 5 spot with 60 points at 5. And at number 4, it's kind of an almost, you could make another argument. There's a tier all to itself with Jordan at 60 because Kyler jumps 15 points ahead at 75 points in the 4th spot. Kyler's, that's Dallas. And then the 4th spot at 75 points. At number 3, our defending champion, Scott's Tots, Mr. Lance Batiste. I don't know why I enjoy saying your full name more than anybody else, but I do, and I did. At 79 points, 3rd in the preseason ranking, our defending champion, Scott's Tots. At number 2, it was a close decision between the 1st and 2nd ranked team. I hate you guys. Number 2 is Caleb Crawdad, Mr. Matt, at 89 points in the 2 spot, leaving myself to have to announce number 1 at 92 points. My team, I Braveheart, at 1st overall in the preseason rankings. Last time that happened, things did not bode well for me, so I am not, in fact, excited about this at all. Last year, if you'll remember, Matt lit up the scoreboard in the preseason rankings. I'm almost positive that will never be broken. That record for preseason rankings is Matt hit 98 points. Almost a complete unanimous decision. And I think Matt was the only reason himself why that did not hit 100 points. This year, the highest rank point total was 92, which also ties what I had back in 2023 when I was in first place. Our lowest first place score was actually back in 2022, our first year with Matt getting 89 points. So some fun notes around the preseason rankings. Kyler now, for a 2nd straight year, has the largest range of outcomes voted by the league for rankings. I'm not sure why our owners have such a hard time with ranking Kyler's team. Very polarizing team, as Kyler was ranked as high as 1st, and it was not himself that did that, and as low as 7th. So that's right, 6 different spots. High as 1st, low as 7th. Was ranked 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th. There was 6 different spots in the rankings Kyler was ranked. So interesting tidbit there. He did finish 4th in the total rankings, but had a range from 1st to 7th. Speaking of a range, the exact opposite as it relates to Jordan. Jordan finished 5th in the preseason rankings with 60 points, and that is probably because Jordan was ranked 5th by 8 different people. That's right. Out of the 10 owners who ranked the teams, Jordan finished 5th in 8 of those 10 rankings. That is, I don't think I've ever seen that. I went and double checked. I don't believe that's ever happened where one team was so consistently ranked the same by every owner. Pretty wild. Lance was almost behind him, as Lance finished 3rd in the rankings with 79 points. What's interesting about that, however, is while Lance finished 3rd overall, Lance was ranked 4th place 6 times. So 6 of the 10 ballots, or 6 of the 10 rankings, had Lance ranked 4th, did finish 3rd, squeaking out Kyler for the 3rd spot in the preseason rankings. Only 2 owners ranked their team the highest out of anyone. I won't expose or say their names, but there were 2 owners. There usually is 1 or 2 people who give themselves the highest ranking of anyone who did rank their team. Frank finished last now twice in a row, both in 2024 and in 2025. Frank, got to get it up. Frank finished in the 2022 rankings at 7th, and that's the highest he's finished since then. So tough look, Frank. First time Jake has ever finished higher than 9th place in the preseason rankings. You are not hearing that wrong. Since Jake has been in here, we've done preseason rankings, so dating back to 2022, Jake has either finished 10th or 9th, but not this year. Not the assistant to the regional manager, I should say. Jake finished this year at 7th, getting out of those bottom 2 spots. This is also the first time Lance has finished outside of the top 2 in the preseason rankings. Can you believe it? Lance has finished 1st or 2nd every single year in preseason, and this is the first year he didn't, although I will say it's 3rd, and it was only 4 points behind the 2nd place team. So, I'm sorry, 10 points behind. That's bigger than I thought. But still, 3rd. Didn't finish in the top 2, but did finish 3rd. Matt and Lance now are still the only people to finish in the top 4 of all 4 years of our preseason rankings. Pretty impressive stuff. The highest amount of points by a large margin for the last place ranked team. So this year, Nate and Frank tied for last. They had 23 points, and this is kind of why I think these rankings are so interesting. The bottom of our rankings this year scored a lot higher than almost every other year, whereas there was much lower scores. And I'll give you some perspective. Last year, the last place team scored 13. But the year before that, 15. The year before that, 14. So 13, 14, 15. This year, we had 2 teams finish for last, and that was 23 points. And so it seems as if maybe the gap is closing between the last place team and the first place team in our league, which as the commissioner, it needs to happen, and it needs to happen pretty quickly. So that's at least a little bit of encouraging news there, as those last place teams were not finishing with a lot of points. To give you even more perspective, despite being ranked 4th this year and in the top 4 2 other times, this is the highest point total Kyler has ever earned in the preseason rankings. And I think this goes to the point that I was just making is Kyler's been in top 4 a couple other times in these rankings, and so this is the third time out of 4 years. But this is the highest points total he's made, and he's ranked 4th. And so we're seeing a lot more points distributed amongst the middle and the bottom, as Kyler has finished the highest points he has had in the preseason rankings. And lastly, this one's for you, Nate, the owner of Jan's Cans. Nate is the only team since the inception of the preseason rankings in 2022 that has fallen every year in the rankings. For 4 years, he started at 3rd in 2022, finished 6th in preseason rankings in 2023, finished 7th last year in 2024 in the preseason rankings, and now is tied for last in the 2025 preseason rankings. So in short, to summarize it once more, tied for last, Nate and Frank with 23. Number 8, James with 33 points. Number 7, Jake with 37 points. Number 6, JT with 38 points. Jordan, 5th with 60 points. Kyler, 4th with 75 points. Lance, 3rd with 79 points. Matt, 89 points in the 2nd spot. And my team in 1st with 92 preseason ranking points.
Put your hand down. You smiling?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football. Football's fun.
Fun, sir.
Fun, sir.
It's fun.
Yes.
You sure?
I think
Now
so.
you're thinking. First you smile, then you think. You think football is still fun?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. No.
No?
Sir. Well, it was fun.
Not anymore, though, is it? Is it?
No, not by
No, it's not fun anymore.
No.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Make up your mind.
No.
Think. Since you're thinking, now go on, think.
No,
Is
no.
it fun?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Absolutely not?
Zero fun, sir.
All right, listen up. I'm Coach Boone. I'm going to tell you all about how much fun you're going to have this season.
All right, let's get into some fun facts heading into the season. Let's start with a little Justin Fields, because you know how much I love Justin Fields, but I think this is pretty interesting, at least from a fantasy perspective. In the history of the NFL, there have only been 3 quarterbacks to average at least 50 rushing yards per game, which, by the way, that's kind of bonkers as it is. Those quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. He's only been in it 1 year, so really Lamar is the most impressive. And Justin Fields. Justin Fields in 2023 was QB9 in points per game and QB5 in 2022 points per game. So maybe if he holds on to the job, doesn't get hurt, a lot of rushing upside there. A little Caleb Williams talk last season. When pressured, Caleb Williams had a 35% off-target rate. That was the 3rd highest mark among qualified quarterbacks. However, when he wasn't pressured, Caleb Williams had the 4th best touchdown-to-interception ratio among qualified quarterbacks, and they, in the offseason, the Bears traded for a pair of guards, got a center in free agency, and added some weapons. So they definitely things should maybe hopefully look better for Caleb Williams this year for sure. We'll move on from quarterbacks. Well, it's not. I like this one here. Last year, from week 10 on last season, so week 10 to the end of the season, only 5 quarterbacks had more fantasy points from rushing than Bryce Young. Last year, from week 12 on, only 2 quarterbacks had more fantasy points from rushing than Bryce Young. Last year, from week 10 on a points per game basis, Bryce Young was QB 10. So very interesting. Here's the entire list of non-quarterbacks that had at least 20 fantasy points in 10 games last year. Bijan Robinson. That's it. Here's the entire list of running backs last season to rank top 5 at their position in both rushing attempts and targets. Bijan Robinson. Sorry, been saying it wrong this whole time. From week 6 on last year, here's the entire list of running backs to average more than Bijan's 22.8 points per game. There is no list. He was it. So big trade. Oh, now, obviously, a couple key offensive linemen have gotten hurt since this list has been produced. But big trade for Bijan as they leave the Cans, potentially to make an impact on another team. Here's the entire list of running backs. No, I'm just kidding. In the 11 games that Tua started last year, Devon Achane have averaged 22.6 points per game. Last year, 22.6 games would have been the number 1 running back in fantasy football. Last year, no running back had more receptions or receiving yards than Devon Achane. So obviously he is the ticket Tua, that is, of getting Achane, well, and his health, of getting Achane a running back 1 type of season. How about a little bit of Chase Brown talk? Starting in week 9 of last season, Chase Brown took over the starting running back role for the Bengals. In weeks 9 through 17 of last season, all Bengals running backs not named Chase Brown combined for 9 total touches, not carries, not targets, touches. For weeks 9 through 17, only 9 touches went to another running back not named Chase Brown. That dude was used. Chase Brown played over 85% of the snaps while averaging 23 touches and 116 scrimmage yards per game. That is bonkers. The only other running back currently on the Bengals are Samaje Perine and their 6th-round pick, Taj Brooks. So, potential huge season for Chase Brown. How about a little appreciation for James Conner? Over the last 5 seasons, here's the entire list of running backs who've played at least 13 games and have had at least 700 rushing yards in all 5 years. So, got to be productive, got to stay healthy and reliable. That's Josh Jacobs, that's David Montgomery, and that's James Conner. Only 3 guys. Last year, James Conner was a top 3 running back in both avoided tackle rate and percentage of runs gaining 10-plus yards. Impressive considering he is now 29 years old. Since coming to Arizona in 2021, James Conner has had at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage and at least 8 touchdowns every single year. Here's the entire list of running backs with over 50 receptions. In each of the last 3 seasons, there's only one, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, here is a guy. Last year, only 2 running backs had more games with at least 15 points than Alvin Kamara. Last year, from weeks 1 through 17, the whole season, Ken Walker started 11 games. Last year, Zach Charbonnet started 5 games. If you just played whoever the starting running back from the Seahawks was last year, that spot would have averaged you 18 points per game. That would have been running back 6. That's pretty impressive. Talk about an impressive handicap to have if you are a Ken Walker owner. Let's see. In 2024, the 30-year-old Aaron Jones converted only 5 of his 20 goal-to-go opportunities. Woof. In 2022, that feels like a forever ago. That's 3 years now ago. Breece Hall was running back 8 in points per game. He averaged 4.3 targets per game. In 2023, he was running back 6 in points per game and averaged even more, 5.3 targets per game. But in 2024, he was running back 17 in points per game and averaged 4.7 targets per game. For his career, the most targets per game a starting running back has averaged from Justin Fields was Najee Harris last year with 3 targets per game from weeks 1 through 6. Oof. All right, let's get into maybe a little Arthur Smith correlation here. With Arthur Smith as a head coach or offensive coordinator, the most targets a wide receiver has ever gotten in a season was Drake London back in 2022 with 117. During his 6-year career, DK Metcalf has had 2 seasons where he's failed to get those 117 targets. He had under 1,000 yards in both of them and finished outside the top 30 among wide receivers in both seasons. Oh boy. Over the last 4 seasons with Arthur Smith as the head coach or offensive coordinator, no wide receiver has finished higher than 31st in either total fantasy points or points per game. In his 6-year NFL career, DK Metcalf has finished as a top 20 wide receiver in points per game 1 time. How about a little Nico Collins love? Over the last 2 seasons, no wide receiver has had a higher yards per route run than Nico Collins. He ranks 2nd in yards per target, 3rd in fantasy points per target. In the 22 games where Nico has played at least 60% of the snaps, he's averaging 18.9 points per game. Last year, 18.9 points per game would have been wide receiver 2. Since 1970, that is a long time ago, 50 plus years now, there have only been 4 there have only been 4 rookie wide receivers to have 1,200 receiving yards and 10 plus receiving touchdowns. That list is Randy Moss, OBJ, Jamar Chase, and Brian Thomas Jr. BTJ. Since the year 2000, only 8 wide receivers have averaged 16.5 plus points per game in their rookie year. 2 of the 8 are BTJ and Malik Neighbors. The other 6 are OBJ, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Michael Thomas, and Anquan Bolden. Since he entered the NFL, George Pickens ranks 2nd in yards per reception. Wow, pretty impressive. During that time frame, among qualified receivers, George Pickens has the 4th highest ADOT. For those unfamiliar, that's average depth of target. Over the last 2 years, Dak Prescott is top 8th in the NFL in both deep pass attempts per game and deep ball accuracy. Last season, there were 21 different players who had at least 120 targets. Last season, of those 21 players, no one had a higher off-target rate than Calvin Ridley. Last year, Calvin Ridley only had 4 games with 7 plus catchable targets. He averaged 18.3 points per game in those games. This is a Calvin Ridley section there. All right. Let's go to how about a little Jacoby Myers asking for a trade, and maybe this will help whoever is trading him or looking to trade for him. In each of the past 3 seasons, Jacoby Myers has finished as a top 30 wide receiver in points per games. In the 12 games he played last year without Davante Adams, he had a 27% target share. In the 12 games he played last year without Davante Adams, he was wide receiver 20. Last year, the Raiders ranked 26th in yards per pass attempt. In 3 years, new Raiders quarterback Geno Smith started for Seattle. He was 9th in yards per attempt. So, the point is, when he is getting the ball thrown to him, he eats. He's productive. How about little Michael Penix in his 3 starts last season? No quarterback had a average. Wow, okay. In his 3 starts last season, no quarterback had a higher average depth of target than Michael Penix. In his 3 starts last year, no player had a higher percentage of passes traveled 20-plus air yards than Michael Penix Jr. Last year, there were only 4 players with more receiving yards on deep passes than Darnell Mooney. Last year, there were 34 different players who had at least 105 targets. The player with the highest off-target rate on those targets was Darnell Mooney. Yikes, Kirk Cousins, what is you doing, baby? Last year, Trey McBride became one of only 4 tight ends in NFL history to have a season with more than 110 receptions and only scored 2 touchdowns. Last year, he had 9 end zone targets, and the Cardinals were able to convert only 1 of them. Last year, Trey McBride was tackled inside the 5-yard line 5 different times. Jeez. He still finished as the tight end 2 in points per game. Last year, CeeDee Lamb. That is unrelated. Sorry. Last year, no tight end had more end zone targets than David Njoku. Last year, he was targeted on 25% of his routes, the 5th highest rate of that position. Joe Flacco started 5 games for the Cleveland Browns back in 2023. In those 5 games, David Njoku had 22.5% target share and averaged 18.2 points per game. Boy, he was eating. And we'll finish up with a little Patriots, Drake May, Hunter Henry conversation. Last year with Drake May under center, Hunter Henry had a team high 20.8% target share. Last season, Hunter Henry saw twice as many red zone and end zone targets from Drake May as any other player on the team. In 2021, under former and now current offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, Hunter Henry saw 47% of the team's end zone targets and scored a career-high 9 touchdowns. That year, he finished as the 10th best tight end in fantasy based on total points. And that is our fun facts for the upcoming season. All right, and let's finish out with a little bit of news and things to remember for this upcoming season. The proposed changes. Let's talk about what was approved in the offseason. Taxi squad will lock once trade deadline comes. So once the trade deadline comes and goes, there can be no rating of any taxi squad players. 1 point will be given for tackles, but that starts next season. So keep that in mind. That was something that got narrowly approved and voted on. Points for tackles for players. 6 points for quarterback touchdown passes. That goes into effect this year. It has been made. It has been done in sleeper. So now quarterbacks will receive 6 points instead of 4 points for touchdown passes. We did raise the league fees on the year from $50 to $60 in 2025. And then we also voted for $70 in 2026. Keep that in mind. We voted on this rule that got passed unanimously. If you beat a team by more than 50 points this season, you get to name their team for a week. So as Tuesday morning comes, that team's name gets to be changed and does not change until the following Tuesday. And then lastly, 0.2 per completion for quarterbacks. That does wait until 2026, though, but did want to just remind everybody that got voted in. Reminders, real quick. We got Survivor again this year. I think everyone knows how it works. We don't have any new owners, so I'm not going to belabor the point. We all know the Survivor contest. The winner gets $100. Always fun to do. Other than that, nothing has changed in terms of rules. We'll still do the TV schedule every year. We'll still have our recaps. And last reminder, if you do want to lock a player in your taxi squad, you have to get it in by the first game, which is that Thursday night. Next Thursday, we have NFL football, baby. So if you do want to lock a player, got to let me know. And just a reminder, what that means is you can't put them into your lineup and they cannot be claimed by anybody. They sit on your taxi squad for the duration of the 2025 NFL season. Well, best of luck to everyone. I cannot wait. We are finally here. We have real football as early as next week in the NFL. College football starts this weekend. Can't wait to get into another season of fantasy football with you. We've been at it for a while. Just want to express before things get contentious and we get at each other's throats here and there. I just want to express my gratitude and appreciation for all of you. It was good to see you guys, for those who came out for the draft. And much love to you all. Best of luck, and we'll talk soon.
Who them girls you be with when you be riding through? Man, I ain't got nothing to prove. I paid my dues, breaking the rules and shake fools while I'm taking the cruise. Tell me who's...
What do you think having a 37-year-old?
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.